right, well, we're back, and I'm ready for some tips, John. So I really want just some basic tips of how to take decent pictures.
Okay, well, first things first is I always tell people, use the simplest camera you can use. You know, this is a little Nikon Coolpix, and it's lavender. That's all I know. But I can.
It looks great on you.
It looks great.
Great.
I'm kind of a
Yeah.
spring, fall, winter mix. But the you know, it's just a quick on-off. You see the cameras come on, immediately you can start taking pictures. But the biggest enemy of still photography is not being still. And you see people holding the camera out and going, "Oh, I'm going to get a
Hence
picture."
the name.
Yeah, still photography.
Yes.
And we forget, we get excited, and we're going, "Oh,
Yeah.
let me get the picture, and it doesn't work." And you go, "Oh, darn it." Elbows in is always, I tell people, keep your elbows in. You're creating a nice stable environment for the camera, and maybe you don't look but it's very still, and you can take the picture. But one other thing I tell people to do is you're on 2 feet, but we tend to stand shoulders apart, just like if you were an archer. You kind of want to shoot a little across your body, put your feet at an L, put one foot behind the other,
The ballet pose.
just like you're on the runway, getting ready, and you keep your elbows in, and you take the picture. Now, when I took the picture like that, you guys were ready, and we took a nice picture. And sometimes what I will do is, once I've got people in a position I want, I'll kind of get the camera on my shoulder, because it's very still here. I can see you guys are in the shot, but then we start talking, and I'll say, da-da-da-da-da, oh, look, the Loch Ness Monster. I'll get a little more of a candid picture that way.
Yeah.
And much of the time we'll say, oh, there's a picture, and we run at it, and we're moving. You have to control yourself. You can't control your subject, but you got to control yourself.
So let's say you've mastered something along this line and you want to make it step up.
Okay, you want to step up. You say, I'm getting really good pictures, but now I want to be able to shoot in a little lower light. And that's the step from a regular point-and-shoot camera, which is what we call it. You just point it and you shoot it, to maybe an SLR camera. And this is a Nikon. Well, we had a Nikon. Let's find a Canon. You've got a Canon.
Yeah.
Let's find a Canon, so they know nobody's paying for this show. All right, it's got a disc in it. So this is a black Canon SLR. It is a Rebel XSI. I guarantee you tomorrow they'll have the Rebel XSZ. And when we talked about that, we talked about people wanting equipment, and that was me trying to figure out how to turn the camera on.
And what's SLR?
Single lens reflex. That means that when you go to take your picture, there's a little mirror here that's in front of your chip, and the mirror goes up and down. That allows you.
Okay, it's making me so nervous that he was touching stuff in there, because I always freak out when I'm touching my own camera.
Yeah, don't do this at home.
Yeah.
But what it allows you to do is, it's called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And
What was that?
WYSIWYG. It's an acronym for what you see is what you get. Photography
I
with
don't
an
have
F.
all these lenses.
But what this allows me to do is I can actually look on the back of the camera and see my f-stop, see everything. But with an SLR, you tend to want to shoot, instead of where before I'm looking at the back of the
Right.
camera, now I'm looking through the front. And if you see, with the first one I could get one picture, this one I can go. Oh, that's not even a fast shutter speed. And if I knew anything about this brand of camera, much more better quality. Not just because it's a bigger megapixel camera, but now you're putting a big piece, it's just the difference between this little piece of glass here and these glass elements.
Yeah.
Nice part about it is you see a lot more detail. Bad part about it, Grandma doesn't like her wrinkles to show up. So,
That's why I like those. Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
going down in
Yeah.
quality. But if you're shooting sports, if you're going to shoot inside a gymnasium, your kid's on the dance
That
team.
is tough
Right.
for me. I mean, the light is crazy, so that gets tricky.
Exactly. And this camera, you can you can also change what's called the ISO, which is the sensitivity of to light. And the higher the number, the faster you're going to get of a shutter speed. And we're not going to go into f-stops, shutter speeds.
Yeah.
Trust me that this camera will let you take pictures, do a little test, and see that if she's going to do a cartwheel, this lens will gather much more light and allow me to shoot at a faster shutter speed, and she won't just be a blur in the picture. And also, at a faster shutter speed, maybe if you're a little excited, shake the camera quite as much.
Okay,
Okay.
crazy question. You know, like at the opening ceremonies of the Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's cameras are going crazy. Are they getting anything whatsoever?
With the strobe, only the person in front of the back of the person's head in front of them.
Okay, well, because I'm thinking it's going so far, and I'm like, can they
Yeah.
possibly be getting that shot at
Yeah.
all? Because it's just going. Phew.
Right, and it
Okay.
looks good for TV, so they don't mind
Sure.
it. But one of the things
Flash, flash, flash,
I
yeah.
tell people is when they look on the back of their camera, when they first turn it on, and I'm going to turn this camera on, there's a little lightning bolt symbol.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you push that lightning bolt symbol, it allows you to turn the strobe. Golly, they make them so small. They're making them for women with
A nail.
with a
Need a
fingernail.
nail.
And I'm turning
She
it.
has a loner nail if you want to use it.
Right. And that's a little tip I left off is when I first picked up this camera, I just turned the strobe off. Unless there's nothing good about the little flash on this camera. It makes it look like everything you shot was with a coal miner's hat.
Yeah.
And people look like you
They
lose
get washed out.
Right.
Yeah,
They
you
Okay.
lose the ambient light. Turn the flash off. If you keep your elbows in and you control how you stand, you should be able to hold that camera still enough to take the picture. Nothing worse than that flash going off. And also, it draws attention to you. If you're shooting pictures quietly, and you can put these on silent mode to where it doesn't even make that, because the clicking sound you hear in here is just a
It's
a
just
sound
cool.
file. It's just a sound
Yeah.
file. You can
Oh, it
change it in
is?
there. Oh yeah, there's no mechanical in
Oh,
here.
I'm getting.
I think it sounds cool though.
It sounds
Well,
cool.
what about the
right?
red eye though? Is that coming from the flash?
It comes from the flash, and the reason you get the flash like that and then a professional doesn't is because that's the color of the inside of your eye. Back in the retina, there's all those blood vessels. The light's going in there and making it look like you're one of the demons from hell, and then you have
Most
to say,
of mine
"Don't
kind
worry,
of look
Grandma."
that way. You crammed a whole lot into lesson 101.
Well, they'll have to watch your show over and over again to get it all.
Right.
That's
This one,
good.
this one will be a TiVo'd, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of people that are budding photographers will get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a commercial break
Yes.
again, and then we have another
Let
one of
this all
the
soak
guys
in.
from Christian Photo that are going to go through some real detailed information about the cameras. So we'll talk with Brian Christian when we come back on Metro Woman. Welcome back to Metro Woman. Today's topic is photography, and we're with Brian Christian.
Hi.
And you're going to give us some technical camera-y type stuff you're going to fill us in on.
Yeah, I think what we need to talk about a little bit is what a person wants to use the camera for. Possibly, do they want one just to carry around small little toteable camera, or do they want something to take photos at sporting events and stuff like that?
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does.
The smaller camera is really pretty convenient because what we do is we take a photo, click, 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 we put it away, and we're out back on the party.
All right.
The larger camera right here, one of the advantages is the interchangeable lens factor. What that does is allows us to put on a larger lens and get things closer. So that's pretty cool. So you can control everything on this camera. You can
Right.
control very little on this camera. This camera, you can actually buy a bigger lens that allows more light to come through, so you can shoot in a lower lit situation, such as sports and stuff like
Right.
that.
Now, what we were talking about resolution before we came back. What is something you really think people need to know about that? What is that in the first place?
Well,
If you wanna explain
resolution
that.
is actually the information on the actual pixels. And a lot of people get so concerned about pixels and
Yes.
resolutions, they say, wow, what this one's 6, this one's 12. It's actually very hard to tell the difference between the two of them. You can get a camera like this camera right here is 6 million pixels, this is 12 million
How
pixels.
many?
This is 6 million.
Million. Okay.
This is 12.
what
Everybody
is this
assumes
at?
this one's 10.
That's what I thought.
A lot of
10 to
things
6 million?
Exactly.
Wow.
The thing about this is the sensor that records the 10 over here is so much smaller than this one. The 6 actually has almost double the resolution as that one because it's got a better sensor to gather information on. The other thing, the advantage of this camera over the smaller point and shoot cameras, the instant non-lag time. I don't. Actually, it's about how fast the photograph happens. You can see that when you put this on sports mode, you can actually hold it down and it'll take continuous photos, where these aren't going to allow you to do that.
So when a person is trying to learn what stage am I at, what would be some questions you
well, we'd want
ask
to try
to figure that out?
We'd want to try to figure out what you want to shoot photos of. You might come to us and say, all I want to take photos is us at a party at Thanksgiving. We'd probably say, okay, let's ask you a couple other things. Do you want to go outside and take photos of sports with that? No, I just want something to take with me on a trip. We want to go that route, most likely,
Okay.
because we want you to get a camera that you would use all the time.
Sure.
We want you to, if you went to this camera with that in mind, we'd probably say, you'll never pick it up. But if you came to
Yeah.
me and said, I want to shoot sports, baseball, everything, we'd probably lean you towards this one more than anything because of that
Moving
fast.
action.
More on digital photography when we come back on Metro Woman.
Well, we've had a great time today and actually learned some wonderful, important things. So thank you so much, John and Brian. And I guess
You're welcome.
maybe we should ask for what are the most important tips that we should go away remembering today?
Buy local, I'd have to say.
That's actually the best that I could tell people because, you know, once you graduate up to something like this, and you take but once you get to this level, so many things can go wrong. You have questions. I always have questions no matter when I buy something. When I buy it at Christian, I can bring the camera back in and say, okay, now when I want to do exposure compensation at a third stop gradient, if I can look on the
Sounds like
internet.
la 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 la.
Yeah, exactly. They always have time for me. They always give me a great discount. No, I don't get discount.
Maybe we should do a little bit.
All right, you ready to shoot? Way to go.
Oh, he wins.
Elbows in.
Not even.
Elbows in.
Elbows in.
Elbows in.
That's right. Angle.